known around Galesburg as the Shoe Lady, but Penny Wager's passion isn't about collecting shoes for herself.
No, over the past few years, she has gathered more than 20,000 pairs of shoes for Soles for Souls, a global nonprofit that turns shoes and clothing into opportunity. And here to tell us about the organization and how we can all help is the Shoe Lady herself, Penny Wager. Penny, thanks for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
So happy to have you here. Okay, so how did this all begin for you?
This began 3 years ago when my daughter started working for Soles for Souls.
Okay.
And she knew I was big into volunteering, and she said, "Mom, I really think this is something that you can get your hands on." And it went from there.
Okay. Yeah, what inspired your first shoe drive, or how did it go? How'd you put it all together?
Well, my church has been wonderful, First Presbyterian Church, and I went to them and said, we need to start collecting used shoes. And we had a box right outside the church and on my porch. Okay. And so we had a soul searching Sunday.
Oh,
and we've done that with several churches and said, okay, the shoes don't do any good in your closet.
Yeah.
Everybody tells me they have shoes,
yes,
but having shoes and getting them to me is a whole different ballgame.
Okay.
So the shoes have to come to me to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, I think we're all guilty of it just a little bit, right? We will want to donate what we have, and we drive around with a big box of stuff to donate in the back seats of our cars.
Yep.
It takes somebody like Penny to just kind of keep reminding people we could use these, and this is what we need them for. So
so Soles for Souls, you know, we were mentioning it's known globally, so we go from Galesburg to across the globe. So talk more about the organization.
The organization has 4 main arms of it that it does. One is for relief. Ukraine has gotten tons of new things from Soles for Souls because they don't need used, they need new. So whenever there's a disaster, they come in on that. Then there's what I deal with, is called For Opportunity. And they're hooked up with 139 countries now. Wow. And what they do is we collect all these used shoes, and here's a few of them. And I have a whole garage full at home. But we collect these shoes. Zappos pays for all the shipping.
Oh, wow.
I send them off UPS to Wadley, Alabama.
Okay.
And there they are sorted and sent to about 5 major countries that they have somebody on the grounds who picks people who have no way to earn a living but have possibility. And they train them in how to run their own shoe store. Then the shoes are provided to them. They go to class in the morning, they learn about advertising, they learn what to do, and then there was a picture of a big shoe on the front of this woman's house. I went to Guatemala in March to see this happening, and I thought maybe it would just be a rug with a few pair of shoes. Well, Jose had painted this huge shoe on the front of her porch, on her whole house, and her living room had been turned into the shoe store.
Wow.
Then she and her mother and her child live in the rest of the store.
Yeah, we're seeing photos from that trip right now. It's very cool.
That's why we have to keep the shoes coming, because we can't set somebody up with a business. And you know, it's really hard for them to think about tomorrow if they can't get through today.
Oh my
gosh. Soles for Souls gives them the opportunity to make this happen.
This trip that we're seeing right now, how did this kind of further shape your commitment to this cause?
Oh, it was incredible. That's Jose in the picture there, who runs the Guatemala in Antigua. And besides seeing how it worked with that, we gave out new shoes to 3 different schools.
Oh, great.
And all the children in the school got a new pair of shoes. And the word went out pretty soon, and a lot of kids who hadn't come to school that day were coming.
Oh.
And of course, we gave shoes to everyone. And after they got their pair of shoes, we gave each of them a little trinket that they got to pick.
Oh, that's so cool.
And on the prize table, these kids stopped forever looking and looking and looking. And I said, I don't have any Spanish. I said, what's the big hang up, you know? Can they pick something? And they said the majority of these kids have never picked anything for themselves. So they would pick up something and they'd put it back, and they'd pick up something else. And nobody said, whoa, all the good stuff is gone.
No,
or the only thing that's left are socks or toothpaste. Everybody was so excited that they got to pick something. I think the picking was as exciting as actually what they got.
Sure,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, this this is great what you do. I mean, you took that trip to Guatemala after your 10,000th pair
Right.
of shoes. So, you know, now you're over 20,000.
Yeah.
Did you
Right.
ever think that when you started this in you know, small town, relatively Galesburg, that it would grow to this scale for you?
You know, originally I said 5,000, I'd be really happy.
Yeah.
And 5,000 came, no problem.
Yeah.
And then 10,000 came. And people said, how long are you going to collect shoes? And I said, as long as you have shoes in your closet and I can do it, I'm going to collect them.
Yeah. Oh
But
my gosh.
I was riding my bike down the street the other day and some man yells, I have shoes for you.
They know
said,
who you are in
shoelace.
Galesburg.
Okay.
Yes.
And no matter where I go, I give somebody one of these.
Okay.
I went to the
Spread
doctor.
the word, yeah.
The receptionist got one, the nurse got one, the doctor got
You're
one.
doing a great job.
And then they post them. And that's
Yeah.
what they need to do of where to drop off these shoes.
So do we do shoes of all sizes?
All sizes. We don't do shoes with holes
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
or
makes
that the
sense.
bottom of the soles are broken.
Okay. That makes
And
sense.
we have to tie them together because otherwise they get to Alabama in those big bags and
You can't find the other one.
you can't find the other one.
On a loose
So I
pair.
either rubber band them or tie them together, and then that way they're kept together.
Okay. How can people support you and maybe get involved themselves?
Well, there's two things that they can do. They can either collect their own shoes and go
Okay.
online at Soles for Souls and print out a shipping label and just put them all in a box and send them. And when you send your sheet, you report into Soles for Souls if you're a dono.
Okay.
And they'll say, were you part of his shoe drive? And then you can just put in my name as being part of the shoe drive.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Or just send them in to yourself.
Yeah.
And another way they can participate every May, and this is May, and there's a
Yes.
shirt up front
Oh yeah, all these shirts. Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that says for every kid.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the arms that they do is for every kid in May,
Okay.
a whole bunch of us volunteer to walk mileage every day in May. I have pledged 300 miles for
Okay.
May, and I'm over 200. And
Good
then
job.
we have to find people who will sponsor us
Yeah.
for our miles that we do. Our goal is to raise $500,000
$500,000.
this May.
Let's do it.
All right,
Yes.
let's do it. We're going to put all this information on our website.
Yes.
Penny, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, obviously, you're very passionate about it. We certainly
Yeah.
appreciate it.